right, Bobcat fans, opening drive. This segment sponsored by Roof Masters and Bubba's 33 in Longview, Texas. Head coach Josh Strickland. We are here today, Coach. 3-1 going into district. Man, tell us a little bit about just the changes coming up. You know, we talk about the season being broken up. We've had our non-district.
Yeah.
You know, 3-1. I'm not. You'd rather be 4-0, but 3-1's a good place to be. How do you feel about your team going into this spot?
Man, I feel good about this team. One of the things that I know already about this team is how they respond to a little adversity. I've seen them do that within a game. You know, you can say the other night we didn't handle it as good as we have all year. However, man, the approach this week in practice already. We had our best practice of the season yesterday, and their approach has been unbelievable. And you know you can win with guys like that, guys who care. Even the other night, not one time did I see in the adversity that we went through one guy pointing a finger at another guy. I mean, it was taking ownership. It was, hey, we know the things we have to get done. I mean, it's never enjoyable to be like that, but it can be a lot more miserable when you don't have the right kind of guys on the sideline for it.
So let's talk about Monday morning. How was the film session? Well, I mean, we're looking at, you know, what was our biggest boo-boos on Friday?
I mean, anybody in those stands could have seen that we had some major mistakes. And the thing about it is, it really wasn't scheme mistakes that we had. It was technique, fundamental things where we go in there and just say on defense, they had 2 80-yard touchdowns where we had guys in the backfield that should have been 3-yard losses on both of those. And there's certain parts of that film, you pause the film, you're like, how's this a touchdown? And on offense, and I think the biggest point of that game the other day was they had big plays. We did not have the big play that we're used to having. Now we had some guys in grass. We just missed on some deep balls that we usually complete. And when a team is that good up front and they're going to play what they played against you, you have to be able to do that. And usually we're pretty good at that, and we did not connect on those. And that hurt us offensively. And I will say this: I go into halftime, and our quarterback is in there, and he goes, "Coach," he goes, "keep calling that stuff to those guys." He goes, I got to do a better job of getting it to them. I mean, it wasn't one of those things where, why'd you cut your route? I was like, hey, you keep calling it, keep telling those guys, keep doing what they're doing, and I'll find a way to get it to them. I mean, that's the way the ownership was.
Yeah.
So,
Coach, was that the best defensive line we faced so far this year?
I mean, yeah, and you watch them on film. We talked about it last week. You watch them on film, and I knew they were good. Some of the teams they played are really good.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that number 24, that nose, man.
He's a real deal.
He's really, really good. I mean, you got a 2-time state champion hurdler at corner covering Ethan. So,
do we know, Coach, where we're at? You know, some of your best football teams are really good in areas, have deficiencies in other areas, but they know that and they know how to play within themselves to win. Do you feel like that this Bobcat football team is getting to that point?
Yeah, I think we know, and I think it's probably more important for those guys in that coaching office to know it more than they do, and so us scheme things so that we know where we need help. We know where we're probably not going to go over there and get cover zero a whole lot. But just making sure that as coaches we understand, hey, we need help on this side or this side, offensively or defensively, or up front in the back end. How can we do that schematically to give our guys a shot? But yeah, I mean, we know that.
Going Texas high.
Yeah.
This is our first time we've sat down after a loss this year, and that's a pretty good thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
How do you think the boys are going to react coming off their first loss of the year?
Man, like I said earlier, if this week's any indication, we'll be just fine. These guys, I try to tell these guys we don't fear anybody, we respect everybody. But there's not an opponent that we're going to sit there and not think we can go out there and compete with and win the ball game. I don't think there's one out there. We all know that Texas High is a really good team. They have really good players. They're really well coached, but we're going to go up there and strap it on for 4 quarters and get after it.
Well, let's talk about Texas High just a little bit more.
Yeah.
what kind of scheme do they run on the defense? It's just a
defense. They're a 4-2. You're a 4-down lineman, 2 backers in the box. They'll have a rover that goes to their strong side where they declare the strength. They like to stay 2 safeties. They are going to be sound defensively on where they're at. It's going to be, it's hard to sit there and get them where they're short a gap or anything like that. And so, without giving away too much, that's what they are.
And I'm glad you asked that, guy, because one of the things I noticed with the line is for the first time this year they faced a 3-man front, really a steady 3-man front against Kilgore. And now coming back to a 4-man front, Texas High, and I've got to think that's going to be beneficial. Do you think it matters to them?
Anywhere I've been, I always think we block the front that our defense is, but we block it the best because we see that in practice the most.
Right.
We used to struggle with a 4-3. We actually, in Springtown, my 3rd year, we switched to a 4-3 because we was like, all right, we'll work our offense better than 4-3. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that's with any. That's the thing. I think any coach will tell you that they feel more comfortable with that. However, I mean, we've seen some odd front, and we've done some good things versus odd front. They got after us, and that's all that we tip our cap to them, and they did it. Kilgore did a great job. I thought they had a good plan. Yeah. Coach Fuller did a good job.
First time this year, your quote unquote Superman of your football team struggled a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you expect them to bounce back?
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't have any doubt that, the competitive nature and the guys that make us go, it's way up there, and they're competitive, and yeah, I don't see that happening very often.
Well, I know we're going to go up there. I expect a W coming out of this Texas High game and nothing else, fans. Been the opening drive, guys. We'll see y'all next time.
Thanks.